Good afternoon or evening, everybody, and welcome back to day 5 of Rufus Finds the Way. I'm going to give a few minutes again for everybody to get here, and I hope you guys have found your animals for today. How are the egg hunts going? I would love to hear from you guys. I've seen some pictures, and they're just amazing. And today we have a new animal. And that new animal that we're going to meet, hopefully you found him in your eggs, the little mouse. And some of them may be gray. This one's black. So we're going to get to find out about this mouse in our story today. So how are the egg hunts going? And if you're here in the comments, say hi so I know. Hello to the Mysic family. Glad you're here. I hope other people will say hi as well. It makes my heart so happy when I hear from y'all. So we're gonna give a few more minutes, and I have to share a funny story before we get started, and that'll give people time to come on as well. So yesterday we know what animal we met. I'm trying to get the mouse back in the egg right here. He's squirmy. We met the frog, and the frog's name was Philemon in the story. Well, yesterday morning, my husband found a toad in our kitchen. I think Philemon came to visit our house. Maybe he wanted to help tell the story, but we decided to, my husband caught him in a Tupperware container and then took him outside so he could go and be free and live as a toad. But isn't that amazing? We had a toad in our kitchen. I don't know how I got there. Must have come in on the animals. But hope you guys are doing great. And I'm going to give one or just about one more minute here for people to get on. So where is the best place to hide an egg? I'm trying to find some new spots to hide them around here. If you have any advice, I would love to hear it. I've tried all sorts of different places, but I'm starting to run out because in our house, we're accumulating one each day. So today we had, how many eggs? That's 6 eggs today. I'm finding new places. So, all right. And then we had Philemon for real in our kitchen. I don't think he would have been good to put in an egg. He needs to go be free and eat bugs. Maybe he likes mosquitoes. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start the story for today. So, Rufus Finds the Way by Julie Little, day 5. And it's titled Arrested. The night was so dark, darker than any night Rufus could remember. The bustling city was now quiet, windows glowing as families celebrated Passover together. Everything seemed hushed and still, as if the whole earth were waiting. Waiting for what? Rufus hopped quietly along behind Jesus and his disciples as they made their way out of the city. He had sat for hours listening under the window of the house where Jesus had celebrated the Passover with his closest friends. Jesus had said so many wonderful, yet confusing things. I am the way, he said. I am the way to God. How could Jesus lead one to God? Rufus wanted to talk to this man and ask him everything that was in his heart. Rufus knew God had created him. He wished he could see God, but now he never would. God would not want such a wicked rabbit who had done so many awful things. The greatest thing in the world is love, Jesus said. When you love, you find God. Rufus had never loved anyone but himself, and now no one loved him either. He had driven everyone away. He wondered if he could ever find this love that Jesus spoke about. Maybe it was only for kings and great men. Rufus followed as Jesus led his disciples into a beautiful garden. Even on this dark night, Rufus could make out the lush green plants and the quiet, winding walkways. The garden, too, was silent, wrapped in peace and solitude. Wait here, said Jesus to his friends. While the disciples sat quietly talking, Jesus took his three closest friends to another part of the garden. Rufus followed quickly and hid behind a nearby rock. His sharp ears perked up to hear what Jesus was saying. My soul is so sad, friends, he said. I feel as though I could die of sorrow. Stay here and pray with me. Jesus walked a few paces away and knelt. Please, Father, take this cup from me, he prayed. He began to weep. Rufus thought his heart would break with grief for this king. He wanted desperately to help, to do something for Jesus. Suddenly, he heard a rustling in the leaves behind him. Turning, he saw the timid face of a mouse poking out of the leaves. Hello, he whispered. Hello, she replied softly. I have never seen you in the garden before. I followed Jesus here. I'm Rufus. The mouse crept from her hiding place and joined Rufus behind the rock. My name is Blossom, she said shyly. What is happening? Why is that man so sad? I don't know, said Rufus sorrowfully. Something awful is happening. I can feel it. But who is he? Rufus paused. He is the king. Really? Blossom said. Is this the one? The one I've been hearing about? Oh, how I've longed to see him. Jesus stood and turned to his three friends. They had fallen asleep with their heads on their arms. Rufus could not believe they were sleeping. How could they fall asleep when their master was grieving so? Please, said Jesus, stay awake and pray with me. He turned back and knelt once again. May your will be done, Father, he prayed. Rufus and Blossom watched quietly as Jesus put his face to the ground, crying out in agony. Look, said Rufus, his friends are sleeping again. Why don't they pray for him? He is so sad. Well, said Blossom timidly, maybe we could pray. Me? Said Rufus. Oh no, I don't think I could do that. Blossom watched the king kneeling and crying. He needs help, Rufus. Let's pray for him. Well, okay, said Rufus reluctantly. Quietly, Blossom began to pray. Help this man, God, she said. Please give him your strength. Help him to know you are there with him. Listening to her simple prayer, Rufus's heart was moved. Blossom knows about love, he thought. Suddenly, the peaceful night was disturbed with the sound of angry voices. Jesus looked up to see lights from many torches moving through the trees. A large crowd of soldiers was heading straight towards them. Rise, let us go, said Jesus in a commanding voice. His sorrow had been replaced by a firm resolution. Rubbing their eyes in sleepy confusion, his disciples stood and looked towards the soldiers. Rufus recognized one of Jesus' friends with the soldiers. The man came up to Jesus and kissed him. Several soldiers stepped forward and grabbed Jesus roughly by the arms. Oh no, oh no, cried Rufus, but Blossom put a paw gently around him. It's okay, she said. Can't you see that he is letting them arrest him? He must have a plan. At that moment, one of the disciples pulled out a sword. No, Jesus shouted. He swung the sword and struck one of the guards. The guard cried out and clutched his head with his ear, where his ear should have been. No, Jesus said sternly. Put away your sword. This is not the way. He touched the guard gently, and at once the bleeding stopped. The guard moved his hand away, his ear as good as new. Rufus gasped. "You are under arrest," said the commanding officer loudly, ignoring the amazement of the soldiers at this miracle. They shoved Jesus before them and began to push him down the road. "We are taking you to the high priest. You are finally going to get the punishment you deserve." "Let's get out of here," the disciples whispered to one another. They scattered and hid themselves in the darkness. But the disciple who had grabbed the sword stood in the road, watching them take Jesus away. With a sob, he began to follow the soldiers at a distance. "I'm going too," Rufus whispered to his new friend. "I have to find out what happens to Jesus." "Good luck, Rufus," said Blossom. "Whatever happens, remember, God always has a plan." And here is the picture of the town, or of Jerusalem there, going inside the city walls. And that is the end of day 5. Wow, big day. So this is the day that many churches call different things. They might call it the Seder Feast. They might call it Maundy, Thursday. They might call it the Last Supper. They might call it Passover, because all of those things are true because it was Passover for the Jews, for those of the Jewish faith, and it was what we refer to as the Last Supper of Jesus. And so it's a really big day in the church because it was the day that he was betrayed by one of his closest friends. Does anybody know that friend's name? Be curious. Anybody know the friend that betrayed Jesus? I know it takes a minute for comments to come in. And let's see. I mentioned that. And today, our church at 7 o'clock is going to be having a Maundy, Thursday service to talk about this very thing. Y'all may know it. There it is. I just saw it come in. Yes, Judas Iscariot. Yes, he was the one. All right. Well, that is it for today. And I will be right back here tomorrow for day 6 of Rufus Finds the Way. All right. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.